You are about to board a 14-hour economy flight. And right now, without even knowing it, you are probably going to make the exact mistake that guarantees you step off that plane feeling like something the airport lost and forgot about. This video is called How to Survive a Long-Haul Flight. Stop making this economy mistake in 2026. And by the time we are done here, you are going to have a complete, specific, step-by-step blueprint that actually works. Not vague suggestions. A real plan. Let's get into it. Picture this. The plane lands. You stand up and your ankles look like they belong to someone else. Your lower back is locked up tight. Your head feels like it is stuffed with wet cotton. You shuffle through immigration, feeling absolutely nothing, too tired to even be excited that you made it. Sound familiar? It does not have to be that way. I am going to show you exactly why this keeps happening and precisely what to replace every single bad habit with. Whether you are in your 30s, your 50s, or your 70s, every single one of these changes works the same way. Your body does not care how old you are. It cares whether you treated it right at 30,000 feet. So let's start with the big one. The mistake that sits at the center of everything. I call it passive flying. And almost everyone does it. You sit down, you buckle up, and then you hand full control of your body to the airline. You eat when they bring the food. You sleep when they dim the lights. You drink what they offer you. And here is the problem with that. The airline is not designing any of that around your body. They are designing it around the departure time zone, flight logistics, and meal card efficiency. That is it. They are not thinking about your circadian rhythm. They are thinking about service windows. This matters enormously because your internal clock, the one that tells your body when to be alert and when to shut down, does not reset just because you sat in a metal tube for 12 hours. You have to actively reset it. And the way you do that is simple. The moment you sit down in that seat, your watch and your mind both switch to the destination time zone, not your home time. Where you are going. That is your new reality from that second forward. Here is what that looks like in practice. Say your destination is 12 hours behind you. It is 2 a.m. there when the flight attendant comes around with that first meal tray and a big smile. You thank her, you wave it away. You pull out your eye mask and you go to sleep. Even if your stomach says otherwise. Even if the passenger next to you is happily eating a warm bread roll. Because at your destination, nobody is eating right now. Your body needs to start believing that. On the flip side, if it is midday at your destination when that cabin goes dark and everyone around you is nodding off, you stay awake. You turn on your screen. You embrace the blue light. You do not force your body into a sleep it does not need based on destination time, just because the flight attendants dimmed the lights. This single shift alone will cut your jet lag recovery time in half. Most people have never heard this framed this clearly, and it is the foundation everything else is built on. Now, let's talk about the environment inside that cabin, because it is quietly doing real damage to your body whether you notice or not. An airplane cabin is pressurized to the equivalent of about 8,000 feet above sea level. Not sea level, 8,000 feet. That alone reduces how efficiently your blood carries oxygen. But the bigger hidden enemy is the humidity. The air inside a commercial aircraft is drier than the Sahara Desert. We are talking humidity levels around 10 to 15% on a long-haul flight. Your body is used to 30 to 60%. What this creates is a level of dehydration that most passengers never even register as dehydration. They just feel foggy, tired, headachy, and they blame the flight. Or they blame their age, when the real culprit is that their body is slowly drying out at altitude. Now, before I tell you the fix, I need to pull something out directly from this. If you are older, this hits you harder. Full stop. As we age, our thirst sensation becomes less reliable. You genuinely may not feel thirsty, even when you are significantly dehydrated. Do not wait for thirst. On a long-haul flight, thirst is a lagging indicator. By the time you feel it, you are already behind. Here is the fix. Before you clear security at your departure airport, buy or bring a large empty water bottle, at least 1.5 liters capacity. Fill it at a water fountain past security. Then before you even board, drop in an electrolyte packet. Not a sugary sports drink, a proper electrolyte packet. Sodium, potassium, magnesium. You can find these at any pharmacy. Now you have a secret weapon. Set a quiet alarm on your phone or watch for every 60 minutes of flight time. Every single hour, drink a meaningful amount of that bottle. Not a polite sip, a real drink. This keeps your cells actually hydrated, not just your mouth wet. And 2 substances you want completely off the table on a long haul: alcohol and coffee. I know, believe me. But both are diuretics, meaning they push fluid out of your body faster than you are taking it in. That glass of wine that feels like it is relaxing you is actually dehydrating an already compromised system and disrupting the sleep quality you desperately need. Save both for when you land. Now, let's talk about your body physically. Because sitting in economy for 12 or 14 hours is genuinely hard on the human frame. The seats are designed for average bodies, not for comfort, and the prolonged compression on your lower back, hips, and legs creates real problems. For seniors especially, blood pooling in the lower limbs and the very real risk of deep vein thrombosis, which is blood clots forming in the deep veins of the legs, is something that cannot be brushed off. This is not fear-mongering. DVT is a genuine medical risk on long-haul flights, and it is entirely preventable with the right preparation. Start with compression socks. And I want to be specific here, because this matters. Not cheap travel socks. Medical-grade graduated compression socks, the kind that provide 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury of pressure at the ankle, tapering up the leg. These actively push blood back toward your heart, preventing the pooling and swelling that leads to that horrible feeling of heavy, sausage-like legs at the end of a long flight. Keep them on until you land. If you have any existing circulation concerns, talk to your doctor before the flight and ask about this specifically. Now here is a trick that almost nobody talks about. Pack a single tennis ball in your carry-on. Just one. When you are seated and your lower back starts to complain, take the tennis ball, place it between your lower back and the seat, and lean into it gently. You can move it around to different pressure points. This acts as a portable deep tissue tool that keeps blood moving in the muscles that are under constant static load. You can also place it under your thighs and roll it forward and back slowly. This does something that no lumbar pillow can match. It actively works the tissue instead of just propping it. Another piece of gear worth serious consideration is a foot hammock. These are small, inexpensive devices that hook over the tray table in front of you and create a sling for your feet. What this does is elevate your knees slightly above hip level, which takes the compression off your lower lumbar discs and improves circulation to your feet and calves. If you have ever gotten off a flight with lower back pain and assumed it was just part of the deal, it may very well be the chair angle more than anything else, and a foot sling can genuinely change that. And movement. Every 90 minutes to 2 hours, get up. Walk to the back of the plane. Do 10 slow ankle circles on each foot. Do a few gentle calf raises holding the headrest of a seat for balance and walk back. This is not optional for anyone, but if you are over 60, it is non-negotiable. A short aisle walk does more for your circulation than any supplement you could take. Make it routine, not an event. Let's talk about your mental experience on the flight, because this part gets underestimated badly. The seatback entertainment screen in economy is, on most airlines, a pretty miserable experience. It is laggy, the glare is intense, the selection is often thin, and staring at it for hours keeps your brain in a state of low-level frustration and alertness that prevents real rest. It is not neutral, it is actively working against you. The solution is to build your own sensory environment. 2 things make this possible. First, active noise-canceling headphones. Not earbuds, and not cheap passive headphones. Real, over-ear active noise-canceling headphones. If there is one single investment that transforms economy class travel, this is it. The low-frequency roar of airplane engines is not just annoying, it is neurologically fatiguing. Your brain is constantly processing that noise even when you think you have tuned it out. Noise-canceling headphones cut that load dramatically, and allow your nervous system to actually settle. This matters for everyone, but especially for older travelers whose auditory processing systems are working harder to filter out background noise to begin with. Second, a contoured eye mask, not a flat fabric one. A contoured mask, sometimes called a 3D eye mask, that has cup-shaped cavities for your eyes so the material does not press against your eyelids. It sounds like a small thing, and it is not. A flat mask pressing on closed eyelids disrupts REM sleep. A contoured one creates genuine darkness without contact. Combined with your noise-canceling headphones, you have now created something that resembles a sensory deprivation environment at your own seat. The person next to you can watch the full extended cut of a 4-hour film with the brightness turned all the way up, and you will not know or care. Before you fly, spend 30 minutes curating content. Download podcasts, audiobooks, white noise tracks, and a handful of films you genuinely enjoy. Not new films you are excited to focus on, films you have already seen and like. Familiar content is psychologically easier to drift in and out of, which is exactly what you want during the sleep window of your flight. Do this before the airport, not at the gate. Now let's talk about your seat, because where you sit on that aircraft changes your entire experience, and most people treat seat selection as an afterthought. It should be one of your first decisions after booking. Before every long-haul flight, go to a site like SeatGuru or a similar aircraft layout tool and look up the exact aircraft model operating your specific route in 2026. Airlines update their fleets and cabin configurations regularly, and the seat that was great on one aircraft type may be completely different on the updated version of the same route. Look for seats that are far from the bathrooms. I do not mean a few rows, I mean as far as practical. The rows directly in front of and behind lavatories have constant foot traffic day and night, bright light every time the door opens, and odor. None of that is compatible with rest. Now, here is the real decision most travelers do not think clearly about. Aisle versus window. And the answer depends entirely on what your specific goal for the flight is. If your priority is sleep, take the window seat. You get a physical wall to lean against, you control whether light comes through the shade, and nobody asks you to move for the entire flight. If your priority is movement and hydration, and this matters a lot if you have circulation concerns, or you simply know you will need the bathroom frequently, take the aisle. You can get up whenever you need to, without the guilt of disturbing anyone, and you are more likely to actually do those circulation walks every 90 minutes. Neither seat is universally better. Know what you need and choose deliberately. One last thing that does not fit neatly into any single category, but is worth saying clearly, especially for anyone who has been flying for decades and has developed habits around it. The way you feel when you land is not fixed. It is not determined by your age or your fitness level or the length of the flight. It is almost entirely determined by the choices you make in the hours before the flight and during it. Swollen ankles, brain fog, destroyed sleep patterns, a back that will not uncurl for 3 days. None of that is an inevitable price of economy class travel. It is the predictable result of passive flying, of letting the airline run your body on their schedule. The people you see stepping off long-haul flights looking composed, moving easily, actually functioning like humans, they are not lucky. They are not flying in secret premium seats. They planned. They brought the compression socks and the water bottle and the electrolyte sachets. They decided their destination time zone before they boarded. They wore the eye mask and used the noise-canceling headphones. They chose their seat deliberately. They got up every 90 minutes even when the seatbelt sign was off, and they did not feel like it. They did all of this, and it worked exactly the way it is supposed to. You now have the full blueprint. Every piece of it. Use any one of these changes, and your next long haul will be better than your last one. Use all of them together, and it will be genuinely, noticeably, measurably better. The flight has not changed. The seat pitch has not changed. What has changed is that you now know exactly what to do, from the moment you sit down to the moment the wheels touch the ground. That is the only thing that was ever missing. Safe travels.